Hello there, 'tis I, Beardian Hughes, and welcome to my channel. So today we will be going through a list of arcane craft and room decor ideas. This is totally fair and completely not biased. Trust, guys. So I'm going to be going through the list I made, starting with some general ideas and then going into more character-specific ones. To start off, we'll be going through some general ideas. First, we have character-themed jewelry or charms. For example, you could make a Jinx-themed bracelet, which I actually did recently. Let me see if I can show this to you guys. I don't know if that's showing up, but I'll put a picture in if it doesn't. You could do something like that too. Something similar with beads, maybe even clay charms for different characters that you like personally. Mine is Jinx. There will be a bias against her, despite what I said earlier on in the video. Second, you can make the introduction vinyl. You know at the start of every episode where there's like this vinyl picker that sort of takes out a vinyl and then it goes to like the introduction that usually has like Jinx or Vi's face on it. So you could make something like that, either as like a clay charm or put it up as like a circular poster on your wall. You could even make it functional and make it like a clock. I'm not sure how you do that though. I don't work in mechanics like that. So you guys can figure it out. So for the last one in the general idea, we have the last drop sign. I'll put a picture up here if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, but you should know what I'm talking about. So similar to the introduction vinyl, you could make it like a wall decoration or even like put it on your door, like outside, because you could just stick it up there. I think you could put it on the door frame, but I don't know if that would catch. But then you could sort of hang it up there, and then just like whenever you walk up to your door, you see the last drop, and it's like, oh my gosh, you live in Arcane. Wow, so amazing. So now we're gonna be moving on to more character-specific ideas. And first we have our favorite blue-haired psycho, Jinx! Round of applause for her. So, to start off, you could make her iconic fighting gadgets. So, fish bones, chomper, and her pew-pew. I put pictures up. So you can make these out of clay as like little charms that you put on jewelry. There will be a lot of linking back to that, by the way. Or like handheld versions out of cardboard. I'm pretty sure I've seen a few tutorials using like plastic bottles and cardboard to make chomper. Yeah, so you could probably like Google it and just follow the tutorials that you see. Another idea is a wanted poster. So remember in season 2 when she's wanted by Piltover and she has these like mean, angry wanted posters all over the place. You could make something like that. If you're super artistic, you could paint it on like a canvas or like draw it out or do some multimedia thing and put it on your wall. But if you're not, you could also just like print it out and then like board it up and stick it on your wall. But I think it could seem like if you put it up there along with some other things, which I will be talking about later, it could really seem like you live in Zon and that wall is just Zon. You know, an idea. You could also make the monkey. The one with the raw hex crystal. I know they have official merch, but it's super expensive, and I think you could find a way to like make it yourself if you really wanted to. I think you could always make like a miniature version out of clay, so that is always an option. But I feel like if you wanted to make like one out of cardboard or like the plastic bottles, you could definitely do that and like layer it and then like paint it. I feel like that would be really cool. Some other ideas is her boots, gas mask, and final fight hood. You could take a pair of, let's say, like old black boots that you have that you don't necessarily like too much, but you want to like change it up a bit, and you could try wrap like ribbon around them or like stretch it downwards or like add like metal bulkiness around the front and the bottom. And you could do the same with her gas mask, and you could like 3D print a base or like find a plastic base of like a mask online or something like that and just like I think you could glue cardboard on it and then like paint it up and layer it. And then if you're good at sewing, you could hand make her final fight hood, where, the one with the jagged shark teeth, it's purple. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but just in case. If you're good at sewing, you could definitely do that. I think there probably are like prints online, but I'm not too sure. So the last two ideas that I have is her blue clouds and mechanical finger. So you could dye like puffs of fabric. If you want to do it in a large scale, I'm not sure how you would do that, but I've seen online where they make like small cloud things. They take like makeup remover and they like puff it up and like dye it, and then you could put it up on your wall, I think, and then sort of make it like cascade around your room, like in the scene where she holds up her torch to find Vi. And I think that could be super cool. Or you could make like a clay charm and then make it just like a keychain or jewelry. Like, the world's your oyster. As for her mechanical finger, you could make something that attaches to your own finger, like a cardboard piece, and then it kind of like attaches over here, so you just slot it in, and then like design it on top as the mechanical finger. I think that's probably the best way to go about it, but I'm not exactly sure any other way to go about it. Moving on to the next character, our best emo pit fighter, Vi. So my first idea, leading off of her pit fighter arc, is the pit fighting betting card. Count how many times I say pit fighting. It shows up in the scene where Jinx is sort of like bets on her, and she does this, I'm pretty sure, and there's like one scene where she bets on her right before Vi starts losing all her matches. And you might have to pause it and like really look at the details, but I'll try and see if I can get a clear picture of it, and I'll probably put it up here if I find one. You could make it yourself, like draw it out on paper and like color it in and everything, and like stick it on your wall. This is what I meant about like the wanted poster, and if you lay the betting card on top, I think it would make it look like, yeah, you're totally a part of Zon, you know. Your room is a part of Zon, you know, it has a wanted poster, it has a betting card, you're involved in the stuff that's happening in Zon, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So another pit fighter arc idea is her jacket. So not the red one that she gets in season 1, but the black one that she wears, and it has like 2 dogs at the back. I'll put a picture up here. You could take an old jacket and like sew it on. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about sewing, so I'm not sure if you could sew such a big print on like the back of it, or like what kind of material you would need, but it's still an idea, okay? So shifting away from her pit fighting arc, we have her bunny and gauntlets. So this is another sewing thing. If you can sew together, or like find fabric that you can sew together to create her bunny that she gives powder in season 1, or you can even crochet it. I think that's another idea that you could do with like, I think gray or like a murky brown. It's honestly up to you. Her gauntlets might be hard to make like in real life, but I've seen people do it before. You can make it like a simpler, more miniature version, so it just fits around your hand and it's not like too oversized and big as in the show. But yeah, or you could just, again, make it a clay charm. This is editor V here. I just wanted to say that I have one more idea for Vi, and that is like the necklace she wears. Again, I'll put a picture. But I feel like I missed that out, and I don't know how I missed that out, because I could have sworn that I completely like thought about it. But anyway, I just think that having that necklace and like making it and like wearing it would be like such a subtle sign to like show that you're an Arcane fan, but it would still be like super cool. But yeah, let's continue the video. So now we're gonna quickly go through some other character ideas, which will be a bit shorter, before finishing off with characters that had like 1 or 2 ideas and didn't warrant their own section in this video. So first we have our Shayla, Isha. So you could make a clay charm of her hat and like paint on little details. For example, I think she had like the spiky things on like the rim of the hat, and then like swirly goggles or something like that. I'll put a picture up here. You could make it out of cardboard, or make it into like a real hat that you can wear, which I actually think would be super cool. I might do that. Another idea is the bug fighting scene where Jinx and Isha are playing with the bugs. You could make those out of cardboard and like plastic bottles, and then they could just be like little desk decorations. Lastly, you could also make the bunny ears that she wore once in the same scene as the bug fighting, Yeah, I think those would be pretty cute, but at the same time, you could probably buy them if you wanted to. But these are just ideas, So, next character is Victor, which I'm sure very many people will be angry that his section is so short, but I could not think of many significant sort of craft ideas for him. So the first one that I have is Hexcore Fairy Lights, which I have been seeing on Pinterest. I saw a couple pictures after a while. So the Hexcore, well, you could literally just take lights, like normal fairy lights, and make Hexcore balls. I don't know if you would do this out of cardboard or hot glue and then like painting it, but you could then attach it to the fairy lights and then just string it up. It might be a little bit precarious because the Hexcore could fall off the light, but you know. Then we have the smooth crystal Hextech ball thingy, which they use when they refine the raw crystals into like the smooth one. You could make that, which I think would be really simple out of clay or resin. I think resin would be really cool. Could also have his staff and bracelet of charms in the flashback of season 1 when Victor saves Jace, and he has this, when he drops the acceleration rune, he has this like bracelet rope wire thingy around his wrist with other runes that he drops to Jace. You could do that, or you could make like his staff. He gets the anomaly in the thingy. I'll put a picture up. Speaking of, the next character we have is Jace. So first we have his acceleration rune, which you could make into like a clay charm. Or just like lay it on like your bookshelf to just decorate. I actually might do that. Just like lay it there. The next thing we have is the Valdiani thing, which is kind of outlandish, but it's the thing that Powder found in episode 1 when they were daylight burglaring his house. She was like, oh my god, it's a real Valdiani, and it like opens up. I'm not sure how you would make that or if it's like that significant, but I think that would be super cool. Lastly, the raw hex crystals. You could make the raw ones where they're still got their sharp edges and grooves inside. That's another idea. The last character we have with their own section is the boy savior, Echo. So you could make his owl mask that he wears in season 1, throughout most of season 1, and you can make a matching set with Jinx's gas mask and sort of like hang it up on the wall. And you could also make his timer thingy into an actual clock and like hang it up, and I think that would be super cool. Again, I have no idea how clock mechanisms work, so I don't know how you would do that, but it'd still be kind of cool. You could also make a firelight, and if you make Isha's bugs as well, they could all just hang out and be buddies on your desk or your bookshelf or wherever you decide to put them. And lastly, we have the blue rose necklace thingy that you should totally replicate because it's so sad and beautiful, and I'm probably gonna do this in the future. Like, it's such a nice looking thing. It's so perfect. Now you have the characters that I can only think of 1 or 2 ideas for. You could make Mel's earrings or the fidget things from the first time we see her. Again, I'll put pictures. For Silco, we have shimmer bottles. You could just decoration. Put like purple dye and put water and then purple dye and then maybe some glitter and like swirl it around a bit. I think that would be super cool. You could also make shimmer advertisement posters and also stick it up on the wall with Jinx's wanted poster and Vi's Pit Fighter betting card. Or his shimmer like eye injection thingy that he has, or like the big fish in the tank in season 1. I feel like those would be kind of cool, but they're kind of outlandish again. So yeah, those are all of the ideas that I could come up with. If you have any that I didn't mention, feel free to leave them in the comments. Let me know if you guys want a part 2, though part 2 might be a bit outlandish, like smaller detail thingies. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.